Let's head back to Florida now, where we're getting you caught up on all of the biggest moments from a case that took place in late December. Caught on camera murder trial. The defendant here, Alex Lopez, faces life in prison for the shooting death in 2024 of a convenience store owner during a robbery. We've watched the evidence. The jury went out for 3 hours, and then they came back with a verdict. I think you can guess what it was. Let's watch.
All right, members of the jury, we have a, who's the foreperson? So, forgive me here, is it Mr.
Yes, sir.
And your verdict is unanimous?
Yes, sir.
That is, all 12 of you agreed to the same verdict?
Yes, sir.
All right, could you please hand Deputy Franson the verdict form? Today is the 17th. All right, the court finds that there are no errors nor omissions. Would the clerk please publish the verdict?
In the Circuit Court of the 5th Judicial Circuit of the State of Florida in Fort Lake County, State of Florida versus Alex Lopez, case number 2024 CF 1341. Verdict count 1. We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case. The defendant is guilty of murder in the first degree. So say we all, dated the 17th day of December 2025. Verdict count 2. We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case. The defendant is guilty of robbery with a firearm.
My daughter is 22 years old. She was in Italy at the time her dad was murdered. She couldn't be here today, but she asked me if I would read this for her. I don't know how to start this. There are no words to explain the feelings I have for what's happened. Things are different. Life is different. I see other girls with their dads, and I think that I shouldn't be in this situation, but here I am. I shouldn't be getting jealous when my friends talk about their dads, but I do. I mourn not only who I've lost, but what I've lost. A caring father who would sit on the phone with me in pure silence just because. A father who would give me the shirt off his back. A person who I could joke with and make fun of my mom's height with. There was a game my mom and I used to play with him, and while she deleted it, I couldn't bring myself to. I can't play it, but I can't delete it. All the times we'd ask each other to trade, and when he played in the living room on max volume. All the times he'd pick me up from Tallahassee, and the times he surprised me. I remember he called me on video, and I could see a familiar background. Then I heard him outside my door. I'd give anything to hear his voice again, not just through video, to hug him again, not just in my dreams. My daughter had a very close relationship with her father. All of my kids did. On the night of May 30th, it was a normal night. We were talking about the kids, and what it made it special that night, it was my daughter's 16th birthday. When someone walked in and changed the trajectory of our lives for not only myself, but for my children. My daughter can't celebrate her birthday without a horrific memory of losing her dad. To walk into a room and to see bags where they tried to save your husband's life, but they couldn't, it breaks my heart. I walked through in a fog for several months after I lost my husband. My daughter on the car ride home, because we took a bag expecting just to go, thinking he had just an injury. My daughter said to me, "Mommy, I had to say the call to prayer in Daddy's ear, like he did for me when I came into the world, and he left on the same day." Do you know how heart-wrenching that is? How broken my heart was. Every single day I look at my kids and I know what they've lost. My oldest son, if we start talking about his dad, he walks out of the room. For a period of time after he lost his dad, he couldn't even come into our bedroom without crying. I don't sit in my den anymore because that's where we spent the majority of our time as a family. I sit in my bedroom, watch TV. That's where me and the kids gather. It is difficult because we were such a close-knit family. What he took from us that night, no one will ever know. To have to drive 3 hours not knowing the outcome was the most gut-wrenching, heartbreaking time to be in limbo. I promise you, today's verdict was not a miscarriage of justice. It was the perfect carriage of justice. And I promise you, my kids, while this doesn't take away their pain, it will alleviate some of it. One more thing I want to add about my 10-year-old. When this incident happened, for several months after it, he would run in our room at any little noise outside, thinking someone was coming to get him. I had to get up countless nights just to comfort him and to let him know he was safe and everything was okay. My children have never experienced trauma a day in their life. They had 2 loving parents. Now I have to be a parent by myself. We did everything right. Everything. Got married, had the kids, worked hard. And to have all that taken in a night, it's not right. It's not right. And I will never, ever, ever forgive him for what he took from my family. That is all.
Ms. Payne, please present your client. Mr. Lopez, having been found guilty by the jury to the charge of murder in the first degree and robbery with a firearm contained in case number 24 CF 1314, the court does find you to be guilty of the offense of murder in the first degree and robbery with a firearm. All right, Mr. Lopez, for the charge of murder in the first degree, I sentence you to life without parole, and for the charge of robbery with a firearm, I sentence you to 15 years to run consecutively.
All right, even the consecutively thrown on there by the judge, this was the worst of the worst. Can you imagine that? He goes in to a convenience store with a gun, shoots the owner, gets $100, less than $100, and a vape pen. The owner dies. It's the same, and he's on the phone, the owner is, with his wife at the time, and it's their 16-year-old's birthday. So every year now, as you heard the mom say, for the rest of her life, on her birthday, she'll think about this. Franz Borchardt, sometimes it's easy, you know. We watch these cases, and sometimes you're thinking, wow, you know, the defendant, this was open and shut from the beginning, a slow plea, nope, not much of a defense, and a despicable human being now spending the rest of his life in prison for nothing. Your thoughts?
Sometimes that extra 15 years consecutive to the life sentence feels right, Ted. And this is one of those cases. And look, it wasn't a whodunit, and I think the writing was on the wall the entire time. So I'm not going to criticize the defendant for going to trial because he probably didn't have any other option. But this is such a heinous and unnecessary crime, and the financial component, as you pointed out yourself, was nothing. That he devalued human life to the degree of $100 in a vape pen. And look, at the end of the day, you know, nobody's going to lose any sleep over the fact that this guy is never going to be free again. Right decision by the jury. And I think the surviving victim put it best when she said this entire case was a carriage of justice. And it was.
Yeah, good point. It worked its way through, and now he was 25 at the time. He's only 26 years old. So he has taken his life away as well for less than $100. So he has devalued even his life. And, you know, we see this again. The ripple effect, it's the victim's life, friends and family, but it's also the defendant's, his mother, they're heartbroken, I'm sure, as well for this ridiculously horrible decision.
The destructive nature of murder is is, as you put it, a ripple effect that does extend beyond just the victims and their families. I mean, you have an entire family on the defendant's side who are left wondering what happened here, what went wrong. And look, I'll also say this for those for those out there that think that a life sentence is too soft. Many people in the justice system that are convicted and get life, some of which would rather be put to death because the idea of spending the rest of their life in jail is more of a punishment. So this guy's going to have a long life ahead of him to contemplate what he has done. You know, the only hope in this situation is that there are victims advocacy programs that over time, not anytime soon, Ted, but over time, try to bridge the gap between the murderer, the convicted individual, and the family of the victim to see if there's some kind of healing that can happen. Not going to happen anytime soon, clearly by what we just heard from the victim impact statement. But that, if there's any hope in this situation, it is there. Otherwise, this guy's just going to sit and rot.